Please don't do this. Please, I'm begging you, Kelechi, please.
He chopped off her head and packaged her for the next meat market sells.
Before I continue this story, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification button. The market square was alive with its usual buzz, but there was a peculiar energy that day. The chatter of buyers and sellers intertwined with the cries of hawkers and the clinking of coins exchanging hands. Yet, amidst the hustle and bustle, one topic dominated the conversations: Kelechi's impending arrival. Everyone knew what it meant when Kelechi was coming to the market. His presence was magnetic, pulling in buyers from the farthest corners of the village and beyond. Before the first rays of sunlight touched the earth, customers were already lining up, some clutching their baskets with eager anticipation. They waited, murmuring to one another about what they would buy and how Kelechi's meat was worth every coin they had saved. "It's different," one woman whispered to her neighbor. "His meat. It has a taste I can't describe. My family won't eat any other since we tried it." "Mine too," the neighbor replied, nodding vigorously. "It's almost as if it has some special magic in it." While the buyers spoke of delight, the sellers watched with envy. Kelechi was an enigma, a source of both inspiration and frustration. They couldn't ignore the sight of his customers waiting in rows, their own stalls barely attracting a fraction of the crowd. By the time Kelechi's luxurious black SUV rolled into the market, the atmosphere shifted. Conversations hushed, and all eyes turned toward him. He stepped out of the vehicle, dressed impeccably in clean, well-fitted clothes that spoke of wealth and class. A confident smile played on his lips as he greeted the waiting crowd. "Good morning, my people," he called out, his voice smooth and commanding. Cheers erupted, and his customers surged forward, eager to hand over their money. Kelechi worked with practiced ease, his hands moving swiftly as he weighed and packaged the meat. The smell of fresh, high-quality cuts filled the air, further enticing the buyers. The other sellers watched from a distance, some with narrowed eyes and others with slumped shoulders. It wasn't just jealousy. It was bewilderment. How could one man command such loyalty? How could he thrive in a business that was so competitive, leaving everyone else scrambling for crumbs? Later that evening, a group of sellers gathered in a small shed near the abattoir. The frustration was palpable. "It doesn't make sense," one of them said, slamming his hand on the wooden table. "He doesn't buy meat from here like the rest of us. He doesn't even slaughter his animals here. Where does he get it? And those cars," another added, his voice tinged with resentment. "How does a meat seller afford such things? It's not normal." One of the older men in the group, a respected butcher with decades of experience, spoke up. "I've heard him talk about bush baby meat," he said, his voice low as if the words themselves carried weight. The others fell silent. The bush baby was not a topic to be taken lightly. Stories of the creature had been passed down through generations. A small, nocturnal animal with glowing eyes and a fierce, almost supernatural nature. Some said it was cursed, while others believed it held great power. But one thing was certain: hunting a bush baby was a dangerous endeavor, and anyone who dared to do so often faced dire consequences. "He told us to go hunt it ourselves," the older man continued, his eyes narrowing. "As if it's that simple. But what if he's telling the truth? What if that's his secret?" The idea sent shivers through the group. Was Kelechi's success built on something unnatural? The thought was unsettling, yet none of them could dismiss it outright. Meanwhile, Kelechi lived his life with an air of invincibility. His mansion stood tall on the outskirts of the village, a testament to his wealth. The compound was surrounded by high walls, and the gates were always guarded. Inside, the floors were marble, the furniture imported, and the rooms filled with treasures from far-off lands. For Chica, this was the dream she had always envisioned. Each time she saw Kelechi's car drive by or caught a glimpse of him in the market, her heart fluttered with longing. She had grown up in a modest household, where every coin was stretched thin and every meal was a reminder of what they lacked. She couldn't bear to live like that anymore. To Chica, wealth was more than material comfort. It was freedom, power, and the ability to rewrite her story. Kelechi was the embodiment of everything she desired, and she was determined to make him hers. But how? Kelechi was not an easy man to approach. He was polite yet distant, never lingering long enough for anyone to get close. Chica spent days planning her move, thinking of ways to catch his attention. She would dress in her finest clothes, wearing colors she thought might appeal to him. She rehearsed conversations in her head, imagining how she would charm him with her wit and beauty. Chica's infatuation with Kelechi began innocently enough, a mere attraction to his wealth and mystery. She had shared her growing obsession with her closest friend, Nneka, one evening as they walked home from the market. "I must get Kelechi to notice me," Chica said with determination in her eyes. "I don't care what it takes." Nneka frowned and shook her head. "Chica, you're walking into dangerous waters. Kelechi is not a man to trust. Have you ever wondered how his meat became so popular? Every time I try to avoid his stall, I somehow end up buying from him. Other meats just seem off." Chica waved her off. "That's just because he knows quality. He's smart and he has taste. Smart or not, no one knows where he lives. He shows up at the market, sells his meat, and disappears. The only time anyone sees him is when he's driving his fancy SUV around. Something about him feels unnatural." "Maybe you're just jealous," Chica said with a teasing smile. Nneka sighed deeply, realizing her friend's mind was already made up. "Just be careful, Chica. Some things that glitter are not gold." But Chica dismissed the warnings. She was blinded by the idea of a life filled with luxury, picturing herself as the princess in Kelechi's golden world. Chica began frequenting Kelechi's stall more often, always finding an excuse to buy meat, even when she didn't need it. She flashed him her brightest smiles and lingered to help him pack for other customers. It wasn't long before Kelechi started to notice her. Though his heart had been hardened by the dark forces surrounding his wealth, he found himself drawn to her. Something about her innocence and determination pierced through the wall he had built around himself. But Kelechi knew better than to let his emotions get in the way. Love was a luxury he couldn't afford. The price of his wealth was too steep, and the consequences of defying the chief priest were unthinkable. Chica's obsession didn't go unnoticed at home. Her mother confronted her one night, sitting her down with a worried expression. "Chica, my daughter, I don't like this relationship you're building with Kelechi," she said. "His wealth is tempting, but something about him isn't right. Please take things slow. Mama, you don't understand. This is my chance to live the life I've always dreamed of. Kelechi is everything I've ever wanted. But at what cost, Chica? Sometimes the things we desire most come with a price too high to pay." Chica brushed off her mother's words, too entranced by the fantasy of living in Kelechi's mansion. While Chica dreamed of a life of luxury, Kelechi faced a grim reality. The chief priest had summoned him, demanding the renewal of his sacrifice. Kelechi had grown accustomed to the ritual, a woman every 2 months, lured by promises of wealth and comfort, only to meet a gruesome end. But this time was different. The chief priest had a specific demand. "I want Chica," he said in a cold, final tone. "It's either her or your life." Kelechi froze. He hadn't planned for this. Despite his feelings for Chica, he knew he couldn't defy the chief priest. The forces behind his wealth were merciless, and the consequences of disobedience were fatal. Determined to carry out the chief priest's orders, Kelechi invited Chica to visit his mansion. He knew she had been eager to see the place she imagined would one day be hers. Chica was ecstatic. She rushed to Nneka's house to share the news. Kelechi wants me to visit his mansion tomorrow, she said, beaming with excitement. Nneka's heart sank. Chica, don't go. You don't even know where he lives. Why hasn't anyone in the village seen this mansion? It's not normal. You're just jealous, Nneka, Chica snapped. You're upset because Kelechi noticed me and not you. That night, Chica's mother made a final attempt to dissuade her. Please, my daughter, don't go. This man is not what he seems. Even the villagers whisper about him. But Chica's mind was made up. The following day, Chica dressed in her finest attire, radiating beauty and confidence. Kelechi picked her up in his SUV, instructing her to wait at a specific junction. As they drove, the roads became narrower, surrounded by thick trees casting eerie shadows. Chica's initial excitement turned into unease. Is your house in the forest? She asked nervously. Kelechi smiled. Relax, my love. You'll see soon enough. Sensing something was off, Chica quickly shared her location with Nneka via WhatsApp, just in case. When they finally arrived, the mansion exceeded her wildest dreams. Made of gold and adorned with diamonds, it was surrounded by a towering gate. Chica's fears melted away as she marveled at the luxury. Kelechi showed her around, offering her a cold drink to help her relax. The grandeur of the mansion blinded her to the danger lurking within. As night fell, Kelechi's demeanor changed. He grew silent and distant, leaving Chica to wonder if something was wrong. Dismissing her concerns, she retired to bed, savoring the comfort of the luxurious room. The mansion was unnervingly quiet, its grandeur masking an undercurrent of foreboding. The golden chandeliers above cast long, flickering shadows across the marble floors. As the clock struck midnight, a chilling draft swept through the hallways, carrying with it the faint sound of whispered chants. Kelechi stood outside Chica's door, the ceremonial knife cold in his trembling hands. His face was a mask of torment, beads of sweat tracing lines down his forehead. He took a deep breath, but the air felt heavy, as if the mansion itself was watching, waiting for him to complete the ritual. Inside, Chica lay sprawled on the enormous bed, her breath soft and even. The lavish silk sheets draped over her barely stirred as she slept, oblivious to the danger looming over her. Kelechi pushed the door open slowly, the hinges creaking like a groan from the bowels of the mansion. He hesitated as he stepped inside, his heart pounding in his chest. For a moment, he thought about turning back, about defying the chief priest. But the image of his own gruesome demise flashed in his mind, paralyzing any thought of rebellion. He moved closer, each step echoing ominously. When he reached the side of the bed, his hand trembled so violently that the knife slipped from his grip and clattered to the floor. Chica stirred, her eyelids fluttering. "Kelechi," she murmured groggily, her voice thick with sleep. He froze, his breath hitching. In that brief moment, his mind raced, searching for an excuse. But before he could respond, the air in the room grew colder. A low, guttural growl emanated from the shadows, and the ceremonial knife rose from the floor as if by an unseen force. The chief priest's voice echoed in Kelechi's head. "You cannot run. You cannot hide. The pact must be fulfilled." With a final, desperate glance at Chica, Kelechi seized the knife. One swift motion, and her eyes widened in shock before the light in them extinguished forever. The room seemed to exhale, the oppressive weight lifting momentarily as the blood seeped into the silk sheets. Kelechi stood over her lifeless body, tears streaming down his face. The mansion fell into an eerie silence, save for the faint whispers of the chief priest's satisfaction. When Chica didn't return home the next day, her mother knew something was terribly wrong. She paced the small living room, wringing her hands and whispering prayers under her breath. By nightfall, panic had set in. Nneka, unable to ignore the pit in her stomach, rushed to the police station with the location Chica had sent her. A team of officers was assembled, their torches cutting through the dark forest as they approached the mansion. What they found inside was the stuff of nightmares. The freezer in the basement was packed with slabs of meat, neatly wrapped in plastic, each labeled with the name of a woman who had disappeared. The stench of decay hung heavy in the air, and at the very top of the pile lay Chica's severed head, her once bright eyes now dull and lifeless. Her mother's wail echoed through the village when the news reached her. It was a sound so raw, so filled with grief, that even the most hardened hearts wept with her. Nneka stood by her side, clutching her hand as tears streamed down her own face. The market square, once alive with energy, became a place of mourning. Villagers whispered Chica's name in hushed tones, her tragic fate etched into their memories. Kelechi was paraded through the village in handcuffs, his head bowed as the villagers hurled curses and stones at him. At his trial, he confessed to everything: the pact with the chief priest, the sacrifices, the allure of wealth that had consumed him. The judge's sentence was swift and merciless: death by hanging after 10 years of hard labor. For Chica's family, justice brought little comfort. Her mother's once strong frame seemed to wither under the weight of her grief. Nneka, now the keeper of Chica's story, spoke to anyone who would listen, warning them of the dangers of unchecked ambition and blind trust. In the years that followed, Chica's story became a cautionary tale told to young girls in the village. Her name was etched into the collective memory of the community, a painful reminder that not all that glitters is gold, and some dreams come at too high a cost.
Please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. And please don't forget to leave us a comment, like and share this video. Stay tuned for more exclusive videos. Kelly Tales.